I'm Andrew, and we'll be taking a look at some of the research in psychological capital, startup capital, and what research suggests it takes to be successful in entrepreneurship. The core theory is that certain psychological capital is imperative to entrepreneurship, and further startup capital is necessary for the success of those business ventures. The particular psychological capital that is of importance is optimism, resilience, trust, and hope. Some of the questions this study examined are the drivers of entrepreneurship, what psychological factors do success depend on. Success comes through perseverance and persistence, certainly, but optimism is a major driver in entrepreneurship. Most entrepreneurs believe that they will succeed, often regardless of how rational that belief may or may not be. And optimism also contributes to persistence, the idea that if they just hold on a little longer, things will work out. And persistence and resilience have been shown to be a key factor in the success for employees and is suspected to be equally important for entrepreneurs. Trust is highly important, yet not easily defined. This component of the capital needed in entrepreneurship consists of many things such as honesty, integrity, steadfastness, and loyalty. All of these are needed to form a cohesive team. Hope may be an easily overlooked component, but it's the main driver for entrepreneurship. It's the why they do what they do, because they're looking for more than what they already have. And startup capital is equally important because this is the investment component. This allows them to buy the facility, the labor, or tools that they need to create a business and to keep that business running. This is important because understanding the drivers and their relationship can help us make determinations as to the likelihood of success. It can help us to find proper management for our existing businesses. It can help to understand what motivates people, allowing us to have better team formation and better recruiting practices. This study was developed with 3 models in which a cross-sectional survey was conducted asking entrepreneurs to self-rate themselves, their experiences, and their feelings on the business on a scale of 1 to 6. 384 micro-entrepreneurs in Kampala and Wakiso, Uganda's major business hubs, were surveyed, and they used only English speaking so as to avoid any translation errors. Now, this study was comprised of 52% male, 47% female, and 38.5% were highly educated. The average age was 31 years old, so they really got a good mix of candidates. Now, in reviewing this study, we can see that high psychological capital has a compounding effect on success produced by high startup capital. Or, in other words, the more you invest, the greater the reward will be if you have high psychological capital. However, high psychological capital improves the likelihood of success on its own, independent of startup capital. In particular, we have hope, optimism, and trust as the greatest value psychological capital. Optimism was the greatest contributor to entrepreneurial success and also the only psychological component shown to impact financial success. Trust was a large success driver as it allowed entrepreneurs to form partnerships and strong teams. Now, the study further examined which of the 2 forms of capital, psychological or startup, best predicts entrepreneurial success. The results supported the proposition that psychological capital is a better predictor of entrepreneurial success, although the 2 forms were both statistically significant predictors. And this would suggest it's wise to incorporate some sort of testing or vetting process to make sure we get high psychological capital in leadership and and in employees. This can, as I mentioned, have a compounding effect on the success of our capital investments. Now, it may not have been the intent for the research to harken back to Christian principles, but we have some parallels that really support the importance of resilience, hope, optimism, and trust. For example, 1 Corinthians 15:58 says, "Therefore, my dear brothers, be steadfast, unmovable, always excelling in the work of the Lord, because you know that the work you do for the Lord isn't wasted." Jeremiah 29:11 continues on, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Proverbs 6:13 goes on to say, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." So here we see the importance of being steadfast, of having a hope for the future and a hope in the Lord, and trusting that He will establish our plans. So what can we do to put this to use? How can we put this to our advantage? Exodus 18:21 says, "But select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and 10. In much the same way as this, we can seek to build our international team with trustworthy leadership, with strong morals that can create a cohesive team. We can also use careful recruiting to find optimistic candidates who believe in what we do and have a hope for the future. We can seek out employees that don't give up, who are willing to work to be part of something greater. If we can seek out these qualities in leaders and employees as we move to expand internationally, then we can expect our investment capital to grow exponentially, and we can also expect to have the greatest chance of success. And while we cannot read minds, we will never know exactly what kind of person will fill the jobs in this expansion, but we can vet them and try our very best to get the right psychological capital in this business to give our company the best chance at a successful expansion. Colossians 3:17 says, "And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through Him." So in this business venture, in this expansion, let's not let our focus leave what's truly important, to lift up God and do our very best to make something extravagant, something worth making, something worth doing that we can believe in and be proud of. Thank you.